Well, the time is just gone 23 minutes past 4, and the Sea Salam Media are keeping you company this month of Ramadan, and we are keeping you company during this time of Iftar, and this is the Iftar Drive. I will be with you right until around 5:45 before handing over to Maulana Yunus Kawanga, who will take you through to the time of Iftar out here in Johannesburg. And it's time now for our international story, in this afternoon's international story, which we have been covering, I would say, for a number of years, year after year. We speak about this month of Ramadan as Ramadan arrives, and we speak about China, we speak about the Uyghur Muslims, we speak about the Xinjiang region, and we speak about the escalation of suppression against the Uyghur Muslims in this month of Ramadan. And this is the reason why we're going across to the UK to be joined by human rights activists and UK director at the World Uyghur Congress. We're talking with Rahima Mahmut. Rahima, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome.
Islam, thank you for having me.
Rahima, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam. Thank you for having me.
Yes, wonderful you're able to join us now, Sister Rahima. We know that year after year, we speak about the same thing. But it does appear as if comes the month of Ramadan, China takes us to another level in terms of its oppression, in terms of its suppression of Muslims, the Uyghur Muslims in particular. And this is the trend year after year. It's the same thing, or in fact, sometimes even getting worse.
It is getting worse year after year because China is getting away. They're not getting punished for what they have been doing to my people. It's been 7 years now. This mass internment, continuous torture. Also, even the people who are at home, they don't have freedom. The constant surveillance, home visits, homestays, that made everything impossible for Uyghur people, Muslims, to practice Islam. And we spoke a lot about people when they are in these camps or prisons or detention centers, the horrific experience that they had, rape, a denunciation of their face, and various types of tortures that these people experience until they denounce the faith. But this is not just limited to in detentions, in concentration camps, in prisons, but at home as well. And people just too scared to live the way of the Uyghur life that we used to live.
Well, certainly, and also I think when we're talking about a normal life, life can never ever be normal. Where even in the month of Ramadan, where people need to eat suhoor in the dark, and we've heard of the situation, so that they don't get caught out. And when we talk about even you mentioned not only the concentration camps, but in normal life, children going to school, police people being policed for fasting. Children being compelled to eat. Now, this is not normal, Sister Rahima.
Well, even when I was there, I left the region, what we call East Turkestan, in 2000. I was a lecturer. During Ramadan, when we go to the college, that, we have to eat lunch. They often tried to, test whether we were fasting or not. Because at that time, anyone who worked as teachers, all the students, anyone who is under 18, they are not allowed. It's not allowed to practice religion. It's very openly stated. But the situation, compared to 2000, has changed really drastically. Now it's not about just the workplace. It's the place even at your own home, in your house. People can just walk in. They set up this kind of supervision groups in all neighborhoods, and they go door to door to check, especially before Sohor. They look around the residential blocks, see if there is any house there's lights on, then they raid and take people away. And because of that, as you mentioned earlier, people couldn't even dare not turn their lights on. And this is so unbelievable. It's so unbelievable. What harm can people do to the system if they just practice the religion? And uh, you know especially the holy Ramadan is so important for Muslim, especially those who are very strict and who are very observant to the religion. And that is a torture. It's a torture.
Well, it certainly is, Sister Rahima. And also, I think just to understand, what is it? What is it about the Uyghur Muslims that has put so much fear in the Chinese government, and particularly when it comes to practicing their religion?
Well, in general, Chinese government's policy, especially the communist government policy, is to assimilate, not only to kill, but when you have 12 million or even more Muslims, it is impossible for them to just gun down everyone. But the best way for them to make to feel not threatened by people who are very different with their own language, their own way of life, and especially Islamic belief. Islamic belief is that considered by the Chinese government as a mental disease. It is the reason why Uyghur people not easily being assimilated like many other ethnic groups in China. And therefore, they believe that only if they eradicate this religion, then the Uyghurs can easily become like them, become like Han Chinese people. And it is extremely difficult, for a normal person to understand why they target the Uyghurs so much. And of course, not only just the Uyghur people, it's because of the land. The East Turkestan, the so-called Xinjiang, it's a very resourceful region. And the Chinese government fear that, if they don't eradicate the entire the ethnic group, the Uyghurs, then there always be a threat that they might rise up. They might have or want to claim the separate state as East Turkestan. So this is not just Islam they target, but Islam is a core, most important part of the Uyghurs that they are targeting.
Sister Rahima, I'm going to put you on hold. We're going to go for a quick ad break. We'll be back in a few minutes.
Thank you.
You are listening to Salam Media live from our headquarters in South Africa. This is Salam Media, keeping you company this Ramadan.
Shimmer, sparkle, captivate. Nothing less than a masterpiece. Droplets of gold inspires precious design. Platinum bursts with intricate freshness, and every pure diamond becomes more than just a girl's best friend. Voda Gold Gem Jewelers, where timeless dreams become a reality. Come to us. We tailor-make designer gold, platinum, and diamond jewelry. Trade in or remodel your old gold. Clad yourself with classy name-branded watches. We offer insurance valuation and freezer card calculation. Visit us at 534 Ridge Road, Overport, or call 031 208 9142. Voda Gold Gem Jewelers, manufacturers of fine gold and diamond jewelry.
The Turkey-Syria earthquake is among the deadliest earthquakes of the last century. Thousands have lost their lives, and large areas and cities and towns in southern Turkey and northern Syria have turned to rubble, leaving huge numbers of residents with very little or nothing at all. Al-Imdad Foundation's emergency relief team is on the ground providing life-saving aid. The people of Turkey and Syria desperately need your support. Donate online at alimdad.com or call 0861 786 243 for more information.
Are you looking for a cross-border road transport company that is committed in achieving high safety standards, who is fast and efficient, and also excel in customer service? Gardi Global specializes in cross-border transport from South Africa to Mozambique, Zimbabwe, Zambia, and Malawi. Gardi Global, situated at 10 Daniel Road, Benrose, Johannesburg. For inquiries, contact our trained staff on 011 614 3108 or email info@gardiglobal.co.za. Safe long haul into Africa is our business. Gardi Global Transport.
Are you looking for a meaningful way to give to those in need? This Ramadan, donate your fidya or kafara to Penny Appeal South Africa and assist us in providing food packs and hot meals. Help us make a lasting impact. Visit www.pennyappeal.org.za or call 031 1100 573. Penny Appeal South Africa. Small change, big difference. You are listening to Salam Media live from our headquarters in South Africa. This is Salam Media, keeping you company this Ramadan.
Yes, this is Salam Media keeping you company this Ramadan, and Emma Givek Sharia, South Africa's first and only fully Sharia compliant family medical takaful and wellness product, wishes all listeners Ramadan Kareem. Download the Emma Givek app and get free immediate access to the Emma Givek Sharia collection of du'as, hadith, Quran, and much more. To continue with the broadcast, we're moving on, and we still have got Sister Rahima Mahmut out from the United Kingdom, and we are talking our international story. We are focused on the Uyghurs and the suppression of the Uyghur Muslims during this month of Ramadan, which is going on for year after year after year. The question is, when is this going to stop? And we've seen the world actually express huge concerns, major concerns with China and its treatment of the Uyghurs and in concentration camp-like conditions. Sister Rahima, let us just continue now. You know, it is clear that the world has woken up also. The world has also taken note of the Chinese and the brutality, and also in terms of just the Chinese government just getting away year after year. And the key issue here is, you know, you based in the UK, raising awareness, and I'm sure you've raised a lot of awareness. We've spoken to people in many other parts around the world. We've spoken to people out of Germany, out of the United States of America, and Uyghurs right across the entire world. Every year, without fail, you are talking about the plight of your people, but nothing seems to be done. I'm sure that is of concern, and it's a huge disappointment as well.
Yes, the reason Chinese government getting away, because the silence of the Muslim world, brother. Muslim world must break its silence and especially scrutinize China's these lies, the deceptive claims that Uyghur people enjoy religious freedom. And many scholars and Muslim leaders went to China for these orchestrated tours and presenting them with carefully staged scenarios of supposedly that showing the Uyghurs freely practicing their religion. However, you know, those who really want to seek truth, they should listen to us, to survivors, to the independent researchers, to the NGOs, to the human rights organizations, rather than relying on China's these false claims. Time and time again in the United Nations, when about 30, 40 countries assemble together and condemn China's treatment, and then we see China's government manage to get 50 odd countries, and many of those countries are Muslims, supporting their China's claim. And therefore, we couldn't get any practical actions from the UN level. And one of the most important things, we've been crying, we are crying for the Muslim world. Please join our cause. Please condemn China, and please really seek accountability. Help us seek accountabilities of what they are doing to the Uyghurs, and especially because we are Muslims. This
Well,
is
certainly, and I
the
think
irony of this is what saddens Uyghur people most is that being Muslim, but yet not supported by the Muslim countries. I know there are people out there helping, also crying with us, also calling for their governments to really condemn China, but the governments are not taking any actions. Instead, standing by China.
Well, certainly, and I think what you are saying is very, very true. And I think, when you mention it's actually saddening, but I think it's actually, it angers many, many people, particularly when we are going through this month of Ramadan, when we see what a lovely Ramadan we are enjoying in our brothers and sisters right across the entire world. We're talking about the Uyghurs, and you're speaking about the Muslim world, the anger at the Muslim world. That same anger is also directed at the Muslim world when we see what is playing out in Gaza as well, right next door to Palestine, and to see, their brothers and sisters starving. They don't even know where the next meal is coming from. People are dying. People are being killed. All of that, and that anger again is directed at a Muslim world that is enjoying a Ramadan that is so peaceful, and we know what goes on in many of these Muslim countries, in many of the Arab countries, overindulgence. All of that actually takes place in the month of Ramadan. Yet, you've got a part of your Muslim ummah, you've got Muslims in other parts around the world that are suffering, and yet you go and you still accept. You accept what the Chinese are telling you, and it is not the truth, it is not the fact, but blindly you accept because it impacts on you in other ways. It impacts on your trade relationships, it impacts on many other things. And exactly the similar thing we've seen, Sister Rahima, that sadly, even with Israel doing what it is doing to the Palestinians, it is still business as usual. It is trade as normal for a number of these Muslim countries, together with this state called Israel as well.
It's really, really sad. If I tell you my own story, it's been 7 years, over 7 years, I couldn't contact anyone. I don't know what happened. I didn't know what happened to all my brothers and sisters for the last 7 years. And the last year in April, someone contacted me via messenger and just left a message telling that my eldest sister died. One of my eldest brother was in the camp for over 2 years and was released because of health issue, because he was very, very ill. And I don't know what happened to the rest. And even after hearing that my eldest sister died, I cannot call them or find out exactly what happened. And the warning was, please do not contact anyone. If you do, you will put them at further risk. So can you imagine in the 21st century, I'm just the one of many, many thousands living in exile, being forcibly cut off from our families and not knowing what happened. You know, all other atrocities that we see in the world, we can see from television. We can see the bombardment. We can see the cries. We can witness. We become angry. But what is happening to my people? It's completely blocked from the view, from the world's view, and it will take many, many years for the world to really find out the truth.
Yes, I
That
think
is
what you are.
something that is incomparable. You cannot compare to any other atrocities in the world.
Well, this is completely, and we know that the Chinese, when it comes to hiding things, they know exactly how to do it. And basically, even when it comes to media, when it comes to reporting, all of that. And what you're saying is very, very true. And it's a good thing you've actually brought this thing up so that we can start looking at this thing very, very differently. The one thing I'd like to also just ask you, Sister Rahima, is the future of Islam and Islam when it comes to future generations. Because we know what the type of indoctrination that goes on in the camps when it comes to children and the youth in terms of Islam, their practice of Islam. I'm sure that is also under threat where Islam is being lost to future generations as a direct consequence and as a direct result of the indoctrination and all of that that actually goes on, where children are taken away, they are taken into camps, and they are then fed with an ideology that is foreign to Islam.
That's the biggest worry for all of us, because the Chinese government's aim is to re-engineer the entire Uyghur population to become atheist, to become like the Chinese people. They already banned the Uyghur language, and our writing, even the Uyghur writings, is Arabic, and that is all banned. The religion, as we already discussed, it's impossible for people to practice openly. People, even though the consequences is so severe, but still the people try to fast and try to continue to practice the religion until they get caught, they're taken away. The future generations, we fear, if no intervention happened from the Muslim world, from much bigger powers and united powers. We are not just talking about the US, the UK, the Western countries, but most importantly, the united forces from the Muslim world to really scrutinize the Chinese government and take accountability. Otherwise, the Chinese government will continue. Eventually, what happens, within the next 20, 30 years, they will manage to eradicate Islam completely. Because, when you are against 11, 12 million, according to the Chinese own census, against how many billion the Chinese people, and such a strong evil power, and the Uyghurs cannot really manage to maintain, to continue the way of Uyghur life, especially when they manage to remove the language and remove the religion from childhood. Then they become a different person. They are no longer be like the way how I grow up from childhood, speaking my own language and learn from very little about Uyghurness, about the tradition, about the religion. I started fasting when I was 12 with the rest of the family. And I was lucky when it was as soon as 76, when Mao died, the end of the Cultural Revolution, from the beginning of 80s until the 90s, we had a relative freedom that Uyghurs were able to, all the Muslims in China were able to practice religion relatively freely. And that is helped revival of the religion. This 10 years, the freedom, because during the Cultural Revolution, religion were banned, the mosques were closed, and my parents used to pray locking the gate from inside, just in case people would find out. But that good times ended again. It was so short-lived. And even that Cultural Revolution managed to transform so many people become atheist and adapting the Chinese communist ideology. So if this continue without any kind of intervention, and we really do fear that they will manage to eradicate the Uyghur people, and this is genocide. This is not just a cultural genocide, but genocide of entire people.
Well, certainly, and Fek, that actually sums it up quite well, right? What you mentioned at the end, that this is genocide, and certainly is, and it has been for a very, very long time. Sister Rahima, we will continue, obviously, providing coverage. We will continue discussing. We will continue highlighting the plights of the Uyghur Muslims over and over again at every opportunity, and not only at the time of Ramadan, but for now. Time is obviously of the essence, but we thank you. We say shukran, jazakallah khairan to you for taking time out and sharing what you have with us on this Iftar Drive program right here on Salam Media. And inshallah, we certainly will stay in touch. But for now, we continue making dua. We continue making dua for our brothers and sisters, for the Uyghurs. Inshallah, Allah make it easy for them. It is the power, it is the strength, it is a we should not underestimate the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to change conditions, to change the hearts of people, to change the situation. And we continue making dua for Islam to once again thrive and to flourish, and the Uyghur Muslims to thrive and flourish in East Turkestan, in that part of the world, inshallah. Please remember us in your duas as well. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam. Thank you very much. Just lastly, I lead the Stop Uyghur Genocide campaign, and I would like you to donate for Launch Good campaign for Stop Uyghur Genocide. Thank you.
No problem. We certainly will do. Rahima Mahmut with us this afternoon, and with that, we're going to go for a break. Next up, we've got Dr. Qureisha Ismail Suleiman already on standby.